Dear Mr. Klein, I says no work on Sunday. That is, I mean no business. So this isn't a business letter. Have you seen the Polaroid land cameras? If you can use a Polaroid camera, go into Troxel's and get one and tell him to send me the bill here. Sincerely, R.O. Raymond, M.D.
Dr. Raymond was born in Illinois in 1876. Got his medical degree from Washington University, graduating in 1899. He practiced medicine there for a short while, and then he came to Williams. He was working with sheep. At one point was running approximately 2,000 sheep in the Woody Mountain area, and he had an allotment there. And then he opened a medical practice, but in 1908 he came to Flagstaff.
But I just remember that he was a very quiet, kind of thin, shy man who always wore a hat when we would see him on the street. And lots of times I would be walking with either my grandfather or my father. If he was on the other side of the street, he would give a slight wave, not big and robust, but he was always a big smile.
I think what we need to understand about Dr. Raymond was he was generous, he was a philanthropist. His whole life was spent not only as a physician helping people that had physical ailments and getting them back to health, but he also did so many other things within the community in Coconino County.
By 1911, he had purchased a building at 9 North LaRue and had opened his own clinic. In the back of his office, at the back of the building, he had a small apartment that was completely furnished with wood from the lumber mill. It was locally produced ponderosa pine, complete with a Murphy bed, and the entire room is paneled in the ponderosa pine. He also later had a house up on Elm Street. He would go up there for meals. He had a housekeeper and read in the library for a while, but he spent his nights at his office. The basement of the building had beds set up as a hospital so that he could keep an eye on his more serious cases. Mary Ziegler Moore was his housekeeper, and she took care of his house, cooked his meals. Apparently, she also wrote letters for him, and they had a very kind of a nice relationship.
Phoenix, Arizona, March 1st, 1959. Doctor is too comfortable to move, so he tells me what to write and to sign for him today. M. Moore.
And when he died, he, among other things, he left all of his household furnishings and office furnishings to her. He also left some aviation stock, Polaroid stock, I think probably set up pretty well there, in appreciation for all that she had done for him. One of the reasons that we have most of his office equipment here at the museum is because it was her reaction that she had been dusting all of that furniture for years and she didn't want to continue, so she brought it up here and donated it to us to continue dusting. Over the years, he built up a lot of livestock, a lot of property. He invested in property. He had no family, so there were no family expenses. He often, during the Depression, people would bring him animals, livestock, for payment of medical bills, and in this way he built up a lot of his holdings.
Dear Mr. Klein and Mrs. Klein, ask the governor not to make any promises and to look into the armory when he has time. I thought they would get tired of keeping it. I believe that Buster Rodabaugh says that the building is unsafe. They would not permit its use except by the state. I have bought some cheap stock this year that has almost doubled in price, and some that have more than doubled. If there is some tax sales that depress the market, the money will be there, and I will have you put it in an order. Best wishes, sincerely, R.O. Raymond.
He donated land, not only land, but he gave money his entire life to help the cause and to make Flagstaff a better place. Not only that, he encouraged people not to smoke, not to drink. He encouraged people to eat right. Now this is in the 19-teens, in 1950, he said your diet was very important. And you know, this is long before. He was 60, 70 years ahead of his time.
He set up what he called the Flagstaff Education Foundation before his death, and that was giving out grants to students from Coconino high schools for college. So that was his intent.
I think what he's done is he focused on a specific area that he knew would help grow the city itself, the community, and I think he was very much an individual who wanted to support education for a lifetime for whomever was involved.
It has been the fact that students needed to have like a 3.0 high school GPA. And also we wanted to respect the fact that some people have a little more difficulty in life than others, so children who came from a one-parent home. Also, since he viewed education as being so wonderful, he wanted kids to be the first to do something. So also part of the criteria is a child who will be the first person in their family to enter college. And so It's really nice for the children of Coconino County.
And so I just applied. Then I got one letter saying I got a scholarship, and then a couple days later I got another saying I got another scholarship, and then I got a third letter saying that I got the Raymond Educational Foundation scholarship. I never would have even considered that I could get into college. You don't really know what's going to happen or how things might have happened otherwise. But when all these different components stacked up in the way that they did, that led to me going to school, I got an education that I'm really happy I got, and I got to study all kinds of things that I never even considered. The scholarship made it so I could go here, and so I could try all the things I wanted to try here. I mean, he made that possible. And now that I know a little bit more about him, it just makes me want to also give back.
After his death, the members of the board of the foundation changed the name of it to the Raymond Foundation in honor of him. And it still exists to this day.
I feel very honored to be on the board because we get to do what Dr. Raymond wanted to do, and since I am an educator, I really feel this is exactly what he would have wanted for the funds to be used for.
Starting about 1945, he started losing his eyesight, and it was in 1945 that he started divesting himself of his sheep holdings. And according to the letters in the archives, he was experiencing what amounts to probably small strokes. He may have also had a heart condition. He was on a number of medications.
I had some kind of attack about 4:15 yesterday with pain in my wrist, elbow, and then my whole arm. I didn't feel like moving. I went to bed, and I'm going to keep very quiet for several days. The doctor was here early in the evening. He did not know what it was. He thinks I just escaped another cerebral thrombosis. My blood pressure was up for no known reason.
There was no indication that he had any close family here in town. When he did die, I mean, we know that he had a brother and probably other siblings. And we know that when he did die, they did come and claim part of the inheritance. The accounting on the Raymond Foundation was that it would have been much larger, you know, had to be divided up so many different ways. There's a small park there in Kachina right now that he gave to the county, and that's also where he's buried. There is no headstone. There's just his name on the little wrought iron gate when you go into the gravesite.
He helped his fellow man in many, many ways, and he was really an example of how one should lead their lives.
He gave back a lot to the community that he settled in. He just had a really generous attitude towards his fellow man.
But after you get older, you realize the impact he's had on the lives of so many people, and still today. I can't say enough good things about what he's done for the community of Flagstaff. Even though he died 57 years ago, his impact will live forever.